Okay, we have a Bronze League ZVT on Daybreak. I am Zeron for terrible damage, and we'll start with our Zerg player in the upper right. He's red, he's Zerg, he's Nexaz, with the good luck to his opponent in the bottom left. The blue Terran, he is Superchampio. Some good names going on in this game. This is a Bronze League game, so it should be a lot of fun to watch. Always interesting to watch the lower level games, not as a matter of, feeling superior, but more so because the games are much more unusual because the builds just aren't as tight. The scouting isn't quite the same, and you just have different builds that can or cannot work out in very unusual ways. So far though, not too much unusual. Supply depot finishing up here. We actually have double gas before barracks coming out of Superchampio. So that is definitely one of those unusual builds. Occasionally you do actually have a build where you have a refinery before the barracks. That will allow you to get out a slightly earlier factory. The fastest reasonable factory timing will be with a gas first. But for the most part, usually you have that barracks on 12, then your gas on 14 or 15 if you're going for a gas build. And if you're going for cloaked banshees, then you'll add on that second barracks as you either as you add on the factory or maybe a little before. So that's normally what you see there. It looks like about a 14-14 coming from Nexaz. I see that might be a bit earlier. But not too unusual out of Nexaz though. The most common opener here in ZVT is hatch first, but just because that is the most common build does not mean that's the only thing you can do. Going pool, gas, getting quick speed, completely fine. Reactor coming on that barracks. So it looks like we don't have quite a clear idea from Superchampio. Definitely looking like a newer player, which is fine. He'll want to convert this to an orbital command so he can get those mules. Faster income. Actually rallied into this gas right now. So we'll see if he realizes that before he gets a large buildup of units into that left refinery. We do have a Zergling headed out for Nexaz. If we look at his vision, he actually has not scouted his opponent at all in this game. You can get away with that. I wouldn't really recommend it, especially at this, well, I guess at bronze level, there's not much you can really infer from what your opponent is doing. For example, seeing that double gas before double gas before barracks and then just getting a barracks with a reactor is a little hard to scout. That is not a typical build. So far, right now, if we look at the worker count, 2017, pretty even, but Superchampio is just not getting that orbital command. That's something that he wants to get used to and get those mules going. There's no reason not to. Very powerful. That is their macro mechanic, just like Zerg has its spawn larva. You would not want to go a game without using queens as spawn larva, and you wouldn't want to go a game without using an orbital command. There we go. Finally going down there at 27 supply. But at least we do have that coming. We do have 6 Marines on the field right now and 8 Zerglings on the other side. If we look actually at Superchampio's vision, he has not scouted either, so we're going completely blind in this game. Superchampio could have Banshees building about now. Nexaz could be going one base Muta and having his first 5 Mutas out about now. So going completely blind here and hoping for the best. But again, not sure what you can do in this situation. Probably just want to keep tabs. If you're unsure about what your opponent is doing in any league, just keep poking up to see what they have up front. give you an idea of what they possibly could have. Here we have a Roachmorn coming up. Just 2 Harvesters in gas right now. We do have Zergling speed already completed. Building up a small ling count up here. We have 16 lings on the field right now, up to 30 drones. So Nexaz is taking an economic lead. No sign of any sort of expansion from Superchampio. And overall, looks like we're going to have a bit of a passive game for the time being. We do have a bunch of lings coming out, so we could see some pressure from these. This shouldn't be enough to kill Superchampio. Though, actually, if he got in and did a good surround, he actually could kill off a lot from Superchampio. So we'll see what happens here. He is moving out across the map. Will Superchampio be ready? He has +1 armor already on the field thanks to that very early engineering bay. Actually has double engineering bays now. Going to be needing an armory, but here comes the engagement. These lings may not be enough. Very close here. Marines rallying out, and that will just be enough. And that actually does go quite in Superchampio's favor. Resources lost almost double for Nexaz. So that engagement worked very well for Superchampio. You can't really blame Nexaz for not expecting the weird timing for +1 armor, though actually by this time you can have a normal +1 timing, but almost finished with 1-1 there. Going to be adding on that armory for the double upgrades. If you're going to be for the +2 upgrades, that is, if you're going to be going for double upgrades, that means you want to get these upgrades as fast as possible. So you want to time out that armory for when the upgrades finish. So this is going to delay things just a little bit, but he will have the upgrade advantage. Right now, I don't believe we have an Evo chamber on the field for Nexaz, so it will be 1-1 to 0-0 for quite some time. We do have a factory with a tech lab, so we could be seeing we could be seeing siege tanks come out of here. Nothing being produced as of yet. If we look at the worker count now, though, it is 39 to 23, so Nexaz is looking in a very good position macro-wise. Superchampio needs to be looking into an expansion. It's past 10 minutes already. That is well past the period at which you want to expand. A good benchmark is 7 minutes. If you haven't expanded by 7 minutes, you should start to feel anxious. It's like you need to be either expanding or planning a 1 base all in pretty much by that point. So at 11 minutes, we're looking at a very, very late expansion, and this would be considered pretty much an all in at this point to be on 1 base this long at higher leagues. It doesn't mean that he can't expand now and do just fine in this game. It's just, if you look at it from a higher level perspective, that is where you'll be, and where I think you should strive is a bit earlier of an expansion. As the longer this goes on with Nexaz having a much better economy, the more he's going to be able to pump out and the further ahead he's going to be. We actually have a third going down here, very nice. And the thing is here, Nexaz could be perfectly content to actually sit on 2 base and build up an army if he could be sure that his opponent was staying on just the 1 base. He doesn't have any spotting out front here at the natural, which he should be doing. You want to have a ling at least out front to see when an army pushes out, and preferably in this kind of situation, a ling back here behind the mineral line to see if an expansion goes up. Also, this late in the game, I would like to see checking for hidden expansions along the outside areas, because it is rather unusual to stay on 1 base quite this long. But we do have a move out here from Nexaz. We have roaches, we have zerglings, we have infestors. The infestors do have enough for a fungal growth. There is that. We do have the pathogen glands to start out with that extra energy. Now that infestors take 50 seconds to complete. pathogen glands takes 80 seconds, so after 30 seconds of pathogen glands searching, you can get your infestors, but here comes the move-in. Nexaz moving up a choke, which is very dangerous, so if he can get fungal growth down, he does, and that does a lot of damage to that bio. He needs more fungals going down, though, or this buffer with his roaches is just going to disappear. He needs to get away with those infestors quickly. He's going to try and escape. Just a few bio units left over. Oh, he's not continuing to run away with these infestors, and he's going to potentially lose some here. Throws out a few infested Terrans, and these units get preoccupied. Throws out some more infested Terrans with fur for these just to get out of there. We had stim from Superchampio, but we did not actually see a stim from him, which really hurt in that engagement. Though I guess the extra health kind of helped in terms of not having a medevac, so helped in terms of how much damage they could absorb considering the fungals. But would have liked to see a stim there. That's why you research it. More roaches coming out. If we look at the bank right now, Nexaz banking up a lot of minerals, so that means he's low in larva. If we look, no larva, just 1 or 2. That means the injects aren't quite on. We see 100 energy on that queen, 69 energy, 78 energy. And what I say to, what I suggest to Zerg players who have too many minerals is, you know what, you can work on your queen injects as you go forward, but in a given game, if you just have a ton of minerals, no gas, throw down some extra hatches. It's better to have those extra hatches than just be floating minerals that you never use. So I would like to see a macro hatch go down from Nexaz. He is only at 42 drones. He could also use better drone saturation at his bases. His third actually isn't rallied to any mineral patches, which is interesting. He's actually manually rallying these as they build. Nexaz going for another move out with some more roaches and infestors. Now roaches work as a good unit for spending a lot of your money, but they are relatively uncommon against bio in large numbers. Just because of the low DPS doesn't really match up well to the very high DPS of the clumped up bio units, but with those big bundles could be able to break through. If he had it, Neuroparasite would be very good against these Thors, but looks like the infested Terran's going to try and do a little bit of damage before those infestors run away. So well done saving some infestors once again, throwing down some more infested Terrans to stall the army, but the Reapers here chasing down the infestors, that is actually kind of neat. The Reapers moving faster than the infestors, so no need to stim the bio to catch up. Though they did stim in that case, but Reapers getting in on the action there. So the trades aren't going in Nexaz's favor at all. But that's been okay just because of how far ahead in economy he has been for the vast majority of this game. 50 drones, 3-bit base to 1. The main base for Superchampio is just about mined out. Really needs to get this expansion going on the low ground. Low SCV count at only 28. Now the upgrades are really hurting Nexaz throughout this game. Superchampio is actually still on 1-1, which is interesting. 2-2 is almost finished now, so those were started rather late. We actually have double mech upgrades going, so those Thors are actually going to start to see some upgrades. A lot going on off of this one base. Finally, this expansion does go down. We actually have some creep spread going out here. That is nice. If we look right now, we do have 14 larvae on the field, but 4,000 gas banked. Would like to see those used. Right now we still are only at 53 drones, so if you have extra larvae and too many minerals, you could be adding on some more drones. Of course, taking extra bases so you can take more extractors so you can get more gas. There's plenty of bases to be taken. You know, if you put down a hatchery and you lose it, well, that's 300 minerals, but you weren't using them anyway. So I really don't think you should worry too much about that if you're floating a lot. Unless you're maxed, then you can use that float to remax. Of course, you still need the larva to remax, so that is something to consider as well. We finally have this natural up and running from Superchampio. We'll see if we actually get an orbital command out of here soon. There we are, orbital morphing. But the supply is going wildly in favor of Nexaz. We see zerglings, roaches, infestors. Very good there. We actually only have 2 on this gas here at the natural, and we still had only 2 on this one in the main. So that has actually hurt the gas income of Nexaz quite a bit, missing some units on gas there in the main and natural. So that's part of the low count, but it's very common to have that low gas count, high mineral count as a Zerg player, especially in the lower leagues. Only typical because of how gas heavy these Zerg units are. Not sure what Superchampio's plan here is. He does have the natural up and running, trying to build up an army, but he has just been behind this entire game. We have 4 Reapers mixed in, so that is actually going to help a bit against these Zerglings being added into the mix. We do have +1 carapace and +1 ranged weapons now done for Nexaz, so that's good, but we do have 3/3 on the way for Superchampio's bio, as well as the nitro packs for those Reapers, but I'm not sure if he will have enough to combat just this huge ball of units coming out of Nexaz. He does have that 2 upgrade advantage over the roaches, plus a 3 upgrade advantage over the lings, so we'll see how this goes. The lings actually follow commanding those roaches. That is actually very nice. I actually do that myself, moving out until the engagement. You have to make sure that you do engage with the lings out in front though, so you want to do that ahead of time. There we go, the lings now running in front. They're trapped a bit behind. The infestors not able. There, the fungals from the infestors. We want to see a couple more fungals. The roaches powering through. These spores in the back doing a lot of damage, but there may just be too much here from Nexaz. The infestors backing off as the roaches fall, and the supply now 100 to 50. And all these infestors left throw down some more infested Terrans. A couple roaches and a whole lot of infestors here. 11 still left over, throwing down infested Terrans. We'll see what the response is here from Superchampio. He has almost nothing left, building just 2 Marines and 1 Marauder right now. SCV is forced to retreat, but there are no minerals left in the main, no mining left going on. This orbital command is beginning to burn and will be destroyed. So the only way Superchampio can mine now is long distance or moving that command center to another location. Some more infested Terrans being thrown down, a little sloppy here on the infestors, but it doesn't look like it will matter, as there's almost nothing left, only 195 minerals left for Superchampio. There's 1 Marauder trying to fight valiantly, 2 kills. He's up to 3/3 upgrades now. They are complete. More roaches moving in, and this should be the death now for Superchampio as the roaches move in, and there's just no way to produce anything anymore, and Superchampio leaves the game. Nexaz taking it in commanding fashion, ahead pretty much the entire game, and eventually forcing his way in and